Well, today we're in Tampa, St. Petersburg, Florida, and we're attending the Clean Gulf 2010. This is the 20th anniversary of the Clean Gulf Conference, and it's focused on sharing and expressing learnings in the Gulf of Mexico surrounding ways and approaches and techniques for ensuring the readiness for response capabilities within the Gulf. You've got a wide range of service providers, county and local officials, as well as industry and agency represented all in one place, all bringing with them their own unique perspectives on, in particular with this conference, focusing on the Macondo 252 incident and the learnings from that, the amalgamation of those learnings being shared through all those differing lenses.
Welcome to the 20th Clean Gulf Conference. Pretty amazing. We've come a long way. It's my pleasure to introduce
this conference and our opportunities here in the keynote sessions of this was to emphasize that this event creates a unique opportunity, a milestone for all of us, that if we leverage the opportunity working together going forward to learn from this, we can ensure a greater understanding of the risks, a greater ability to mitigate those risks, and a greater opportunity to ensure that this tragedy is learned from and doesn't occur again. On day one, we had literally 20 people. By day 90, we had 48,000 people working in this response. The Gulf of Mexico is such a unique way of life. It's such a unique ecosystem. That was our underlying one purpose, one mission as a team that we gathered on day one and throughout this response to focus on what we could do as a collective to ensure that we did everything possible to protect, preserve, and mitigate the consequences of this tragic event. We're still in the middle of this response. We still are deeply involved in the early stages of understanding, evaluating, and addressing what went wrong, what went right, what have we learned. Learning is what these 2 days are about. Learning from each other, learning from the experiences, learning from what went well, learning from what didn't. There are four major themes in the information that as a company we've learned at a very high level and are working to better understand. The first of those is the importance of collaboration and the imperative of how we worked as one team across this wide construct of response efforts and activities. I think the second lesson that we've learned through this is the importance of at-scale systemization. First and foremost, the importance and the value of the incident command system itself. How we could leverage this system, this process in the past 20 years or longer of learnings from the incident command structure and apply it at a scale enabled us, sometimes challenged, but enabled us to keep one team, one purpose, one mission through the use of that structure. The third area that I would touch on is the importance of information. Just the scale and magnitude that you just simply cannot imagine as to the amount of information that we were absorbing, collecting, trying to interpret, analyze, and leverage in order to inform our strategy and inform our abilities to respond. And then finally, innovation. Let me tell you, the innovation inside in terms of, you heard at the source, the examples of top hats, top caps, capping stacks, the many different elements of technology that were deployed in the source control itself. But that didn't stop at the source control. We were constantly looking at new concepts and ideas for technologies in skimming operations. You'll hear more about controlled burning operations, about the use of approved and regulated dispersant operations, our shoreline protection strategies and the technologies there. And then and only when it got past us and hit our beaches and our wetlands, the tremendous scope of new ideas that have emerged on how we can clean up and and take care of the shorelines, the beaches, the wetlands, the marshes, and our wildlife that have been impacted by this. We have many new diagnostics and surveillance techniques that were deployed and brought in from wide ranges of industries outside, including drug enforcement industry and surveillance techniques that enabled us to actually be used to look for and identify skimmable oil as an example. We have many new technologies that have been involved and developed in this response, including everything from the abilities in our relief well operations to our onshore cleanup operations and never to be forgotten, and that again is why we are here, and that is the experience that's been gained from this. Certainly this is all of our opportunities to take advantage of this event in its most positive sense of how do we learn, how do we go forward from this tragic event, and how do we ensure that we collectively, working as a partnership, do in fact take every opportunity and every measure to ensure that we create the safest possible environment as we continue to pursue the energy resources that are needed for our great nation.
The importance of this event is more or less the quality of the lessons learned, both good and bad, from the response, and I think sharing those with all the response community to be able to replicate some of that across responses into the future.
Well, I think it was very impressive on the size and scope of the organization that was developed over the first 6 months of this incident, and in depth of what his knowledge was and how all those aspects came together from the technical side as well as the operational side and the political side, all coming together as one major team.
You can tell that, that in reference to this response, BP is here for the long haul. They're here to certainly take care of the responders and take care of all the local community personnel that have given so much of the response efforts and then who live here day to day.
He made it clear that the response is continuing and gave us numbers and gave us the resources that are still on scene, which is also very helpful to share that.
We as a country need to figure out a way to sustain this over the long term and take these lessons learned and figure out a way to implement them and carry them through for years to come.
So Clean Gulf 2010 has given us an opportunity to share the lessons that we've learned with regards to the response, but also demonstrate the importance of going forward.